I would like to announce that a quorum is present. The meeting is duly called, and a notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. The time is 6 p.m. The following board members are in attendance: Allison Lasan, Dr. Stacy Barker, Catherine Sells, Dr. Sheila Taylor, Michelle Akateb, and Jenny Prosnick. I've asked board member Michelle Akateb to lead us in prayer.
Please join me if you so choose. Dear God, as we begin this new school year, we ask for guidance, peace, and protection. Watch over our students as they grow, learn, and find their paths. Be with our teachers and staff, grant them strength, patience, and joy in the work that they do each day. May our schools be places of safety, kindness, and inspiration. Help us all to face challenges with courage and celebrate successes with gratitude. Together, may we create a year filled with growth, understanding, and connection. Amen.
We will now convene into closed session as authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551, specifically 551.071, 072, and 074. The time is 6:01 p.m. We are back on the record in open session, having returned from closed session. The time now is 7:01 p.m. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge God, one and indivisible. The next item on the agenda is to consider and discuss and take action on board member resignation. On July 15, 2025, Dr. Buddy Bonner submitted his resignation from the Board of Trustees. In accordance with state law and board policy BBC Legal, his resignation took effect 8 days later on July 23, 2025. The board will vote on the acceptance of Dr. Bonner's resignation tonight. Although Dr. Bonner's departure, necessitated by statutory requirements, is deeply felt, I have great respect for his decision, and I am grateful for his dedication to facilitating a seamless transition. Consider, discuss, and take action on board member resignation. Does any trustee wish to make a motion on the acceptance of Dr. Bonner's resignation? Ms. Sells.
I move that the board approve Dr. Buddy Bonner's resignation.
Is there a second? Thank you, Ms. Lasan. All those in favor? It is a reluctant 6-0. I will state that we will be celebrating Dr. Bonner's service to this district and to this board at our September 8th regular board meeting. And the board will evaluate our next steps in regard to the vacancy created by Dr. Bonner's resignations at a future meeting. Next is to introduce and acknowledge our new Chief Technology Officer and family, Dr. Rapp.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. As you all know, we had a change needed because Mr. Colbeck was going to be stepping away from the role of Chief Technology Officer, and we wish Mr. Colbeck nothing but continued success in his future endeavors outside of education, and we celebrated a great dedicated 10 years of his service with us. And so as a result of that, I'm very pleased to bring to you and announce that we are bringing forward Dr. Garricani, who is coming to us from Klein ISD most recently, and he and his precious wife Yvette, and Yvette is going to be teaching second grade for us at Memorial. And so because I had hiring authority over the summer, I'm bringing this as an information to you all, and we want to bring him and Yvette forward and welcome him to the district.
Dr. Taylor, will you share with us our vision and mission statements?
Madam President, our mission statement, engaging and inspiring learners and leaders. Our vision statement, all students are confident, equipped with the knowledge and skills to thrive and adapt for their future.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Next on the agenda is recognitions, and we have a very special recognition tonight for our very own superintendent. And before I bring Rory Peacock up from Region 11, I would like to read into the record the letter that the board sent to nominate Dr. Rapp. Will you lead us off as the chair of the committee, Ms. Lasan?
Yes, thank you. So this was a letter that I had the honor of being the chair of the committee, so chief gatherer of information to send off about Dr. Rapp, and was very pleased to do so. So this is the letter, which was just part of the packet of information that we sent. It was dated April the 18th, 2025. Dear Superintendent of the Year Evaluation Committee, Lewisville Independent School District is one of North Texas' most dynamic and diverse school systems, serving more than 47,000 students and 6,000 dedicated staff across 13 vibrant communities. Despite its scale, LISD maintains the close-knit spirit of a family. At the helm of this thriving organization is Dr. Lori Rapp, whose exceptional leadership has unified our campuses and elevated our shared vision of excellence, reinforcing that we are truly one LISD. Since her appointment as superintendent in February 2022, Dr. Rapp has worked with tireless dedication to bring a clear and inclusive vision to life. She has united more than 68 campuses under a shared mission, empowered staff, uplifted students, and reinforced community connections. For these reasons and many more, the LISD Board of Trustees is proud to nominate Dr. Lori Rapp for the Texas Association of School Boards Superintendent of the Year.
Dr. Rapp exemplifies what it means to be a true partner to the Board of Trustees and our team of 8. Her communication is transparent, thoughtful, and solutions-oriented. She engages the board in meaningful conversations, shares weekly comprehensive updates, and ensures our shared goals remain front and center. She leads not just with vision, but with the same integrity, humility, and heart that she has had throughout her 30-year career in public education, all in LISD. Dr. Rapp leads with both strategic insight and heartfelt commitment. Early in her tenure, she partnered with the board to establish a long-range strategic plan focused on 4 foundational cornerstones: student learning, student experience, resource stewardship, and community engagement. Each area is guided by scorecards that establish measurable goals, and Dr. Rapp has consistently delivered those metrics while keeping students at the heart of every decision.
Under her leadership, LISD's graduation rate has increased by 1.1%, now reaching 95.3%, well above regional and state averages. Our special education graduation rate stands at an outstanding 94.4%. Third grade literacy is at 87% on grade met. 87% on grade met their IEP. Third grade mathematics, 86.7% on grade level. 94% of seniors demonstrate college or career readiness. 218 National Merit Scholars in 2024. Student involvement in extracurricular activities continues to climb, aiming for 100% participation by 2026-2027. The district is on track to meet an impressive 85% engagement rate this school year. LISD is home to 3 of the top 10 UIL 6A marching bands, including the state champion. Chronic absenteeism has declined by 1% thanks to intentional efforts to support student attendance and engagement. LISD attendance rate has reached 95%.
Her support for staff has also been transformational. Through her ongoing Lunch with Lori campus visits, Dr. Rapp listens, learns, and shows appreciation for educators and staff. Dr. Rapp also implemented the Recognize Someone program, where parents or students can recognize staff members for the amazing things that they do every day. These touch points have helped foster a culture of trust and belonging, contributing to LISD maintaining the lowest turnover rate among large districts in the region. Dr. Rapp's commitment to responsible resource management has been equally impactful. Faced with budget challenges, she made efforts to optimize central office staffing, restructure middle school scheduling, and establish a cap on substitutes. Under her leadership, the Board of Trustees passed the district's first ever debt management policy. As a result, LISD has achieved a budget deficit of less than 1%. Her financial leadership has earned LISD numerous awards, including 7 financial stability indicators, an A+ fit rating, and multiple transparency stars from the Texas Comptroller. LISD also holds certificates of excellence in financial reporting from both the Government Finance Officers Association and the Association of School Business Officials.
Dr. Rapp's leadership has also been instrumental in securing major community investments. In 2023, working side by side with this board, she helped pass a $1.23 billion bond and a voter-approved tax rate ratification election of ADER. When an athletic bond initially failed in 2023, she worked collaboratively to re-engage this community and led the successful passage of a $101.8 million bond in 2024. Beyond the numbers, Dr. Rapp has prioritized building strong, authentic connections with families, staff, and a broader community. Through initiatives such as Supper with the Superintendent, brand ambassadors, key communicators, and the Ministerial Alliance, she has created pathways for open dialogue, school finance education, legislative action, and shared advocacy. Her visibility at district events is unmatched. #Rapp on the road. Her social media presence alone is a testament to her genuine engagement across every campus, helping to create the spirit of family that makes LASD so unique among large districts.
Her influence extends beyond LISD. Dr. Rapp was the key voice in prompting the Commissioner of Education to delay implementation of the new PEIMS reporting system, advocating for districts across the state. She serves on TASA panels, contributes to state-level discussions, and maintains open lines of communications with legislators, staff, and families. Her advocacy for public education is clear, consistent, and deeply rooted in her belief in its power. In every way, Dr. Lori Rapp represents the very best of public school leadership. On behalf of the Lewisville ISD Board of Trustees, I offer my enthusiastic and wholehearted support for her nomination as TASB Superintendent of the Year. Her leadership, passion, impact, and embodiment of LISD's mission to engage and inspire learners and leaders are worthy of this distinguished honor. Sincerely, Jenny Prosnick. I would now ask Rory Peacock from Region 11 to join us.
Perfect. Well, good evening. Good? All right, excellent. Well, my name is Rory Peacock. I'm one of the Deputy Executive Directors at Region 11, and I'm very honored to be here tonight. I had a small summary of the letter, but that was much better than what I would have delivered. So thank you so much for that. I would love to talk just briefly about the award, the nomination process, and the next steps that I anticipate we will be taking together in this journey. So as the regional winner, you are now part of a very elite Final 20 across the state of Texas. Each service center, oh yes, we absolutely can clap for that. Each service center has one candidate for Superintendent of the Year. I do want to say that our region is one of the largest regions. Dr. Rapp is the one, not one of, but the one of our 76 school districts, and she will be representing Region 11 at the state level against the other 19 regions, which I'm very confident we will see her name in the top 5 finalists, And on September 12th, I'm very excited and very optimistic that we will see her name as the State Superintendent of the Year. That's my expectation. So with that said, Region 11 Education Service Center proudly recognized Dr. Lori Rapp from Lewisville ISD as the 2025 Region 11 Superintendent of the Year.
Will you join us on the dais so we can get a photo? Public comment is next on the agenda, and we had no speakers sign up, so we will move on. Next up are discussion items. First up, Dr. Rapp with our changes in the 89th legislative session.
All right, thank you, Madam President, so much, and just thank y'all again. I'm overwhelmed, but so appreciative and love this district so very much and love serving with all of you. And ultimately, as we all know, dealing with the legislative changes is part of what we all do together as a strong team of 8. So I felt like it was important just to go over a couple of things. Again, not the 89th legislative session held so many changes for school districts. I'm only going to touch on a few items tonight. We have been communicating with our families about House Bill 1481 related to the change with personal communication devices in schools. Not only did we put out a message in June, but we have that on our Back to School communication website as well, along with some specific information related to an FAQ. And I appreciate all the departments that are impacted by this, from schools to student services to learning and teaching, and of course with Ms. Bay's help with sticking to ensuring we're interpreting these legal statutes appropriately. So here's what the family update looked like in June. We knew that the biggest change was going to be for our high school families because we'd already made significant changes last year at middle school and elementary. So we wanted our high school families to be pre-warned, if you will, once this legislation was passed. And then it's also in our back-to-school resources. Of course, my back-to-school communication came out. I appreciate Dr. Miller and the communications team for all their great work with gathering all the different back-to-school resources. It's quite the endeavor with all the different departments that we have to coordinate and put information out there for our campuses to use. But it is on our back-to-school webpage. There, like I said, there is an FAQ there. That specifically impacts, the FAQ specifically details how might this look for elementary, middle school, and high school. I appreciate Mr. Skelton's work with the high school principals because we know that it's going to take a little bit for our students to get into a new routine, and so we're going to do our very best to establish that new routine, of course, as soon as they get back, and we'll be very clear about when the hammer drops, if you will, and this all begins. But we'll give the kids as much of an opportunity that first week of school to get their bearings about them when it comes to these personal communication devices. Okay, so that's House Bill 1481. I wanted to spend just a couple of slides on House Bill 2, because when we last saw you all in June, we knew that we were estimating what was going to be coming to LISD from House Bill 2, how much money would that provide to us, what was it looking like for raises, and of course I can't say thank you enough for your commitment to provide a 3% of the midpoint raise to all of our staff. We definitely know now, as we're continuing to get guidance from TEA, as they're defining the teacher retention allotment, the TRA, that's what they're calling the salary raises for teachers specifically. And they're also giving us guidance about who qualifies to generate this TRA funding for the district. And so the TRA statute defines a classroom teacher for the TRA allotment purposes as a person who is employed by a school system and who, not less than an average of 4 hours each day, teaches in an academic instructional setting or a career and technology instructional setting, and who are employed in a role that would typically require possession of a SBEC certification. Accordingly, the term under TRA includes individuals who do not hold a certificate. So, for instance, we may have some people not yet with their teaching certificates that could qualify and generate this TRA funding. The other allotment that was created was the support staff allotment. And if you'll remember, back in June, we were estimating that we would receive about $1.6 million to provide raises to all other types of support staff: bus drivers, child nutrition workers, counselors, nurses, librarians. That $1.6 million did not come anywhere close to providing the raises that you all passed. And I know staff have overwhelmingly, as I've been out and about, expressed appreciation for. It's been hard budget decisions that we've all made to get to the place of being able to give raises to everybody. But it's also important for people to know that when it comes to the TRA, TEA is going to count the number of classroom teachers classified as a teacher, we believe from the guidance we have, that are coded in PEIMS code 087. And then they're going to look at total professional years of experience as submitted in the PEIMS fall submission. So I know we're getting a lot of questions right now from staff who we do love and appreciate the job that they do each and every day, but they may not be PEIMS coded 087. And what we know right now is that that's the code that will generate the funding. The spending requirement functions so that the allotment really should be thought of as a pass-through. So you think about the staff that are coded in PEIMS, generate this money, the money passes through us to them directly, basically, as part of the employee's salary. So if an employee doesn't generate the funding, then as a school district, we would have to either indicate to put additional money towards the raises for staff that don't generate that amount of funding. As I shared with Senator Parker when I had the chance to see him in June, you know, the $5,000 raise, I believe we all talked about in June, roughly equates to about a 7.5% of the midpoint. So we absolutely know that there is not enough difference in pay between possibly a veteran teacher and a counselor, or a veteran teacher and a librarian. You know, we've also heard concerns from campus testing coordinators and some other staff. And so it's put us in a tough situation. We didn't make this law. We're not writing the requirements about how we receive the funding. in order to take care of raises. But you look at the support staff retention allotment guidance from TEA, and it says eligible support staff include teachers not eligible for a salary increase under the TRA, such as those with less than 3 years of experience. Eligible staff also include school counselors, librarians, school nurses, teachers' assistants, custodial staff, food services, bus drivers, admin staff, and other support staff. So I would just say to everyone, as we're implementing the TRA, believe me, if we get different guidance about the positions that generate funding under TRA, we will go back and make adjustments. But right now, you all have committed as a board as much as you possibly can to raises for all staff, and that's well beyond the amount of money that you were given from the legislature. And I assure all our staff, and I know, Ms. Prosnick, all the emails you've received from staff, you're assuring them as well on behalf of the board, we absolutely are advocating and will continue to advocate that there were staff not provided for fully with House Bill 2. And that does not mean that the work that the staff does is not important or not valued by you all. You all did not write this legislation, and none of us are the ones writing the rules that go with it. TEA has put out a calendar for guidance. As we know, because of all the amount of legislation that happened in this legislative session, they're still producing guidance as we speak, even though we're welcoming students to their first day of school next week. So we are working fast and furiously to understand the guidance, implement what we know at this time, and we will continue to keep you updated with any changes that we get. One other bill I wanted to note was Senate Bill 991. This was specific about chronic absenteeism. It basically adds that chronically absent students and truant 10 or more unexcused days or parts of days within a 6-month period. That will put the student to the list of a student at risk of dropping out of school. So chronic absenteeism is now adding an at-risk indicator for students. You all know we track on our scorecard our attendance rate, as you spoke to. Our student services team that are here tonight that work with Mr. Kosh, Ms. Bonio, Ms. Davenport, Ms. Davis over there now, work hard with our campuses to really work with our families to get our students here in attendance. And thank you to Dr. Miller and the comms team and all the work the whole team has done on our attendance at school every day counts, our Present for the Future campaign. And this is part of our back to school resources. We want people to be present, be prepared, and be present for their future. And we've got some important notes for them about what the number of absences can do to you in terms of putting your learning at risk. So I know our campuses will emphasize this, and we'll continue to emphasize this as we go throughout the school year. But again, thank you all for you all working with our legislators. I know you've been busy, even though we haven't met in the month of July, communicating with them as well, and we'll continue to communicate as we go through special sessions and such. And that's my legislative update.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rapp. Next is Human Resources Report. Ms. Cobb.
Good evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Rapp. I'm here to talk to you tonight about the teacher incentive allotment, not to be confused with the teacher retention allotment that she was just talking about, but they go hand in hand. So wanted to talk to you tonight just a little bit about TIA. Is this on? I'm moving something. I don't know which one it is. There we go. Okay. All right. So what is TIA? TIA is a program that's designed by the state, and ultimately the goal is to have your outstanding teachers have a pathway to make a 6-figure salary. With that, districts have to create what's called a local designation system to identify the top performing teachers, where they're looking at student growth measures, classroom observations, optional criteria that we would design as a district. Plans are developed with community input, and then we would have, of course, TEA approval. Teachers who obtain designations generate funding. There are 3 different designations that I'll go through in just a little bit, and they're paid out through the Foundation School Program. Then we have to have a payment plan, which we must spend at least 90% of the allotment on teacher compensation, and then 10% can be used at the district level. Our local designation system has to be based on 3 things: eligible teaching assignments and eligible campuses, teacher performance data and designation criteria, and then our TIA spending plan. So this is a lot of planning and work we would do with different departments in the district, working on where would we start, what campus, would it be district-wide, would it be certain campuses, would it be certain areas, certain content areas. We would look at that. We would also look at our growth measures, what we have in place, if we can use something we have in place or something we have to create and work with. And then, of course, the spending plan, which is at least 90% goes to the teacher, 10% goes to the district. Our building blocks. So the first thing we would have to do if we were interested in moving forward with TIA is to develop our local designation system. First thing we would have to identify is who is our TIA lead. So out of the different departments that this may impact, who would be in charge of that? We would have to have a planning committee that's established. We would then have to have stakeholder engagement. That has to be early, it has to be robust, it includes the community, as well as different stakeholders in the district. And then we would have to create a documentation plan and how we would document it, how we would store it, how we would share it, monitor, audit, the whole 9 yards. Some considerations that we would need to consider if we were moving forward would be our first thing we would need to look at is our appraisal program. As you all know, that our evaluation program for teachers is LEAD. It's locally designed. We would most likely need to retire that and move to the state evaluation program, which is TTES. Districts, then after we did that, districts would begin looking at the student growth measures already in place. Like I said earlier, we would look at what we're already doing. We'd work hard. We would partner with Adrian Gall's team, Learning and Teaching, Sarah Fitzhugh's team, Shauna Miller's team. Several of us would all work together for that. We would look at our growth measures, see what we already have in place that would work, and then if we need to create or modify any of those options. The timeline for implementing new student growth measures is often a top consideration. So if we have to start over, we would need to look at that timeline. We need to determine eligible teaching assignments and readiness for the designation system. And then, of course, we can use locally developed or third-party growth measures as long as they're valid and reliable. And that all goes through. There is a whole thing with Texas Tech that all goes through for determination and approval. Our timeline. The application opens in November. It does end in April. It is recommended that we begin the planning process prior to the year in which we intend to apply. So that's just the planning piece. Beginning in August, TIA, they do provide technical assistance. They have cohort meetings. We already sit in a lot of those right now at the district level just to make sure, at the the state level, just to make sure we're listening and we know all the updates as we go through with that. The cohort system, the state has organized annual applications into cohort systems to help kind of organize and plan and to be clear in the process. And then we have to go through a process. If we ever want to change our current cohort, we have to get approval by the state. Currently, we are in cohort letter I. And this chart right here identifies kind of our timeline. As you can see, it's quickly approaching. The system application will be posted November of 25. Our application would be due April 15th of 26. And then you can see we would use the 26-27 school year to capture all of the data. And then there are dates in there. And then we would receive our first initial payout in September of 28 if we moved forward. And then, of course, we would have to renew our application in 2031. So here are some considerations. So the benefits. Research states that the benefits of TIA does attract and retain high-performing educators. It incentivizes work in underserved and rural communities. It enhances teacher morale and recognition, promotes data-driven evaluations and growth, and it strengthens student outcomes in high-poverty schools. With benefits, there are also challenges. So with challenges, that research states that there has been inconsistent evaluator training and data collection. Teacher skepticism and limited buy-in has been something that they've seen. There's been disparities in implementation across many districts in the state, and resource constraints in smaller or rural districts are a challenge. The opportunities for Lewisville, we all know we're facing declining enrollment. We all know we've had recent school closures, so TIA could attract top talent with financial incentives. It could help address our staffing gaps in high-need subject areas, special education, bilingual, math, science, things like that. It could enhance our district's competitive edge and stability. So kind of our next steps and where we're looking to move forward is, are we moving forward with cohort I, or do we need to move that back a little? You saw the timeline that we have, so that's one thing we've got to look at for this year. We have to identify our TIA lead and what that would look like. We have to start stakeholder input, community meetings, kind of what everybody thinks, all of that kind of stuff, and then we would need to develop a robust plan for district-wide engagement, including our staff and the wider community, but specifically focused on our teachers. And with that, that is in a nutshell a brief summary of TIA, and I'll take any questions that you may have.
Dr. Taylor.
Thank you. I guess for one, happy to see this as something that may be explored. So I had questions about this just from looking at other districts using this. So I definitely appreciate you mentioning what some of the benefits could be to LISD. The questions that I had related to, I guess, implementation, and it may be kind of down in the weeds, so I apologize if that's the case. With respect to the TIA lead, is that a current employee? And I'm only asking, is there some kind of hit to the payroll? Is this a separate paid position?
It is not at this time. We do not have that position. It's right now sitting in my department.
Gotcha.
And we work through, like I said, we already go to some of the meetings, the WebExes and all that, so to make sure we're in line with all of the timelines and just the up-to-date information. We would have to work through if that was a necessary position, an added FTE that we would need. Like I said earlier, it would certainly be, it's not just an HR lift, it's going to be several departments lift together, but we would need to determine that as we dug in the weeds a little bit more.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Then my other question was just understanding again the process. Is the committee also internal, or is it made up of community and internal employees?
Both.
Okay, so it's made.
You would have to have district stakeholder input. We would invite community members in, existing teachers, administrative staff, all of the things. It would be a diverse group of folks that would be looking at it.
Gotcha. Okay, and it would work just like any. I guess I'm still asking about financial.
Yeah.
If there
For
are any incentives or anything we'd have to pay to make up that committee.
Yeah.
And then, is there a roadmap for how this would work? Like the committee, is there how you would staff that? What's a best practice for?
There's some. We have resources available to us, especially districts that are already in the planning processes.
Okay.
And so we could certainly reach out to our folks around us and see what they've done.
Okay.
I've done a little bit of that. I've also been to some trainings years ago before COVID. And then, so it's kind of, there's a lot of people out there now looking at it, and there's a plan.
And this is my last question, because you mentioned it as a challenge of getting the buy-in from our teachers. I'm assuming since we brought this, we surveyed the teachers? Or?
We haven't yet.
Okay.
This is just information only, but that would most likely be part of our plan.
Okay.
Would be we need to get stakeholder input.
Right, buy-in. Okay. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Dr. Barker.
Thank you, Madam President. I will start by saying that I am a heavy skeptic.
I understand.
There is some research on the benefits of TIA. There's also a great body of research on unintended consequences of incentivizing individual teachers. So that makes me very concerned about any process put in place. So I'm just laying that out there. All right, now to my questions. Number one, is there regional support available?
Yes.
Do we have support from Regional 11?
Yes, we do. Regional 11, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then my second question is, because I've worked with districts trying to validate their growth measures, do we have some initial thoughts on whether we think we might have good ones in place or whether we think we might have to really look at something different?
I'm going to just use this as a very initial, quick answer to that is we do have some measures in place that I believe that could be useful.
Follow up to that.
Okay.
You mentioned targeted subject areas. Are those growth measures only in certain content areas?
I don't want to speak out of turn, but I would believe so, yes.
Okay.
I think that's definitely one of the conversations we would have to have with stakeholders is, where do we think that this could benefit the district and what content areas are we talking about? We know some other districts that have already gone ahead of us are utilizing some resources developed by the Regional Service Center, as a way to have an assessment that's not locally developed and that kind of thing. But it's been interesting to get to collaborate with districts who are ahead of us. They've had some good feedback about some of the assessment resources, specifically from Region 10, actually, that they've been utilizing for the process. So.
Ms. Sells?
Yeah, I too am a skeptic. I think it's hard. I think it will be very hard, and I think it's harder than many perceive it to be. I also see that the promise of $20,000 or whatever doesn't necessarily mean that, because, so I think that we've got to make sure that expectations are real if we move forward with this for our teaching staff. I think that we've got to make sure that they understand the work that's going to have to go into this about data tracking and student engagement and the test building that's involved. It's not a cakewalk. And also, I want to know, I want to make sure that our district is making sure that we utilize that, not 100%. It's going to cost us to implement this. And so is it 90% has to go to teachers? Is it 10% that we have some leeway in?
Yes, ma'am.
And so off the bat, I'm going to say that 10% is something that these things cost money to do. And so I'm sorry if you feel like you earned that, but part of the earning is the work that goes behind the scenes, and that's work that the people in this room and outside, and you're in all the things, learning and teaching, everything. I mean, there's not anybody that's not involved with this technology. I mean, just, So, once again, skeptic, but I also know that given the hand of cards that we have been dealt, we almost have to throw in a card.
Yeah. We already receive money from the state for if we hire teachers that already have the designations. And so that 90-10 is already in place. They know that they're getting 90% of whatever they've earned from the district they're coming from. And then we keep the other 10 for administrative costs such as TRS, things like that. Mm-hmm.
Well, I got to see an amazing presentation at SLI down in San Antonio by my good friends at Idalou ISD. And one of the things that their administrator of this program said was that it was a lot of work. We're a bit larger than Idalou. And said that it was an eye-opener for a lot of their teachers who felt that they were master teachers, which is the designation for the largest bonus. I don't know how to use what their words are for it. Payout. They're the largest payout. Who discovered they were not master level by the standards set. I'm not here to say whether they were good teachers or great teachers or not. And They also discovered that some of the things that we're discovering with the legislation for the pay raises for teachers is that now they had teachers making more than principals. They had teachers certainly making more than counselors and librarians, et cetera, which we've certainly already heard from our staff in that they feel that, and I would agree that the legislature was very short-sighted in how they did some funding in HB2 because I want to go on the record and say I think it takes every person in this room. It takes the bus driver, it takes every person to have, for our kids to have success in crossing that graduation stage. There is not a person in this room that does not play a role in that. And I feel that it is short-sighted of the legislature to not acknowledge that. But I will go back to this and say that I do find it interesting that what they are asking us to do is create an administrative position. Instead of just paying teachers what they're worth. I've said this before, education should not be competitive, it should be collaborative. And I agree with Ms. Sells that I feel like we are going to have to explore this because it does address some issues that we're facing. But I don't want to give the impression it will be easy. I do not want to give the impression that it will come, to my colleague's point, with a lot of unintended consequences. So while I appreciate the state trying to find a way to honor teachers who are masters of their craft, I just don't know if this is this system is the way to do it. So that's my soapbox for the evening. Are there any other comments, questions? All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Cobb. The Student Services Report, Mr. Kaj.
President Prosnick, board members, Dr. Rapp, transportation update for August. I think we've been doing this for 3 months. The runway was short, and we're about ready to take this plane off, aren't we, Dana? So I'm joined here by Dana Chandler, the Director of Transportation, Lisa Gardner, the Assistant Director, and then our new member to Student Services will be the liaison to the campuses and families directly with bus services with some other duties as well. But so transportation update. Like we said when we first started this, maybe it's this one. There we go. We bought hazardous routes before y'all, and we said, hey, we might be bringing more because the byproduct of having ownership of the transportation department and having people who are right there working every day for the good of the families of the community, we found some other areas that need to be added to our hazardous route. So if you look at this one, it is for Memorial Elementary School, Griffin Middle School, and the Colony Middle School, Colony High School. Area outlined in red, as you can see the picture, there's no homes there. There are now. And so the kids would be required to walk down Wind Haven and then down Josie to Memorial, or, of course, then 121 in the north going the other direction. So once again, I'm just very appreciative of Dana and her team for bringing this forth to us so that we can make these decisions. And so I think that's a huge win instantly for the community with having transportation in-house. So with that, I'm going to let Dana take it the rest of the way.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Rapp. So I think we've been here a couple of times now, but yes, so we have hired some staff now. Thank goodness I'm not the only one, and me and my admin for a couple of months, it felt like. So Lisa has been hired on as our assistant director, like Mr. Kosh just introduced. We've also hired a fleet manager, Robert Metcalf, a security and safety manager, Raven Stephanie, And then Katie Davis is now on board as the Director of Student Services, and she's going to be our transportation liaison. So these numbers have changed. I told Jeff a little while ago, I said, it's so fluid. I think we're up to maybe 220-ish drivers now. So yes, so we've been hiring. It kind of goes, we have ebbs and flows. People come, people go. So our bus monitors are totally full. We don't have any more positions open at this time. We only have 2 maintenance technicians right now, so we're struggling a little bit in that arena. So we're really recruiting those folks and trying to get some good qualified technicians with us. We have 9 office staff members currently as well, so quite a few folks that are on board. So this next picture is just, I just wanted to show y'all a little update. We've gotten all of our Zonar tablets and the hardware and software is all installed. I think we had that done like probably almost a month ago. They've been in the buses. So you can see on the left, the picture on the left is actually what the tablet looks like that will give the driver directions eventually when we get to that piece. But right now, currently, they're using it to log in to time keep so that payroll can pay them. And so they also use it for pre-trip and post-trip inspection. And so they're being trained. Today was our first day back. The drivers came in for dry runs today, and so you probably saw buses running all over the place this morning, and we're going to do that again tomorrow. We have about half that came in today and half that'll come in tomorrow. So they're getting ready and getting used to the new equipment that they have and learning it. The picture to the right is the Zonar RFID tag. That is what we will eventually, and one of probably the last things that we will do, which is to install that, and that will be where the kids scan their badges so that we'll know who's on the buses. These are the animal identification badges. So you'll start to see the buses now all have those installed. We put all new route signs on all of the buses. The animal wristbands went out to the schools today. We delivered those, hand delivered them. And so the principals will start passing those out, and they can start putting them on the students when they start school. They'll likely go on their backpacks. Our bus equipment has been a challenge. I will tell you, all of our buses did get inspected. We had said that we were going to have them all inspected by outside third party, which we did. And then out of those, 55 of our buses needed new tires. 24 needed to have leaf springs replaced. Over half the fleet required new batteries and will require new batteries. We're putting in new batteries every day. We had a lot of buses even today that wouldn't start. It's just age of the fleet and then the failure to replace them, some of it. Buses are in the process of getting all their DOT inspections. I think we're down to 54 that need DOT inspections still. And then, of course, those 54 still need to have their registrations done, as those expired back in June and July. So we're working on that piece. All new first aid kits have been bought. Those are something that we put in the bus every year, so they expire, and they have to be replaced by federal law. Fire extinguishers have all been recharged and tagged in the buses, which is a piece that needed to be done as well. And then our shop equipment and tools were delivered, and actually when I wrote this, it's been a couple of weeks ago, our shops are pretty well set up now, even with just the few guys that we have working, and we've had some drivers helping getting things put in and organized and arranged. So it's starting to look really good. Looking ahead, today was our first day. So the Transportation Call Center, Miss Lisa manned that, and Katie helped set that up. And so we had, I believe, 8 employees, that staff members that were there that are temp employees. They're a temp agency. We have not hired them permanently, but they will be here for the first 4 weeks. And depending upon how bumpy the road is, may stay a little bit longer so that they can answer calls for parents and families. They're going to use Route Hub. They have computers, phones set up, so they'll be using Route Hub from our routing company to log and track all the calls. Did you have anything you wanted to say about the call center?
just that it was a great day. When we received our first call, we were just sitting, waiting, twiddling, and the first call came in and everyone yelled. But we received approximately 25 to 30 calls today with parents that were eager to share their stories. They were excited. I shared earlier that we did have a parent who called in and asked, her daughter was on or is on reduced lunch, and she wanted to know the cost of the bus since she's on reduced lunch. And when she heard the representative say that there was no cost, she cried. So it was a great day overall. And just so you'll know, we're going 8 to 4 this week. And then starting on Monday, we will do shifts with all 8 employees from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Thank you, Lisa. We are still in the process of updating the website. We did some updating again today. We've added a link. It's actually not a QR code. We ended up deciding to just go with a link that parents can click on to request bus stop changes. And then we've already got the electronic student discipline referral submissions complete, and have talked a little bit about it with the schools, and sent out some links to all the schools so that they'll be using that as we move forward. And that is all I have. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Ms. Lasan.
I just have a quick comment. Thanks. I know you guys have been working so hard, and I'm excited, and it just in a little neighborhood chat, my neighborhood, as some of my fellow board members know, the bus didn't come running. Poor Mr. Kosh. My son's bus wasn't real great last year, but and so the neighborhood was kind of talking about it, and I said, hey, just wanted y'all to know we've brought transportation in this year, and everybody in the neighborhood was so excited. So I think there's some excitement. I said, but it might be rocky starting out. Just give them a little grace, and so I would just encourage everyone to, give the transportation system a little grace, but I have full confidence that I love this. Y'all are doing great things. So, blessings, good luck on a week from tomorrow.
Ms. Bells.
Well, I'd like to first think that maybe we could do some field trips with our Tech East auto mechanic students to maybe show them that school bus mechanics is a way of the future, for some of them. So that was the first thing. But my actual question was, were any of the maintenance issues that you listed on that slide, were any of those the responsibility of our former contractor?
Yes, and it's I got this. It's so in our transportation meetings that we've been having, Mr. Martin and Mr. Rare are part of those, and Mr. Martin is working closely with the negotiations with Texas Central regarding the closeout of that, and just some things that we need to work through with issues that we're finding. So we'll be meeting again this week, and I'll get another update about that, and I can keep you all posted on how that's going.
Perfect. Thank you for being aware and on top of that. I appreciate it, and our taxpayers appreciate that.
Dr. Taylor.
Just a quick comment. Everything sounds so great. I don't know if you remember, I was a little skeptical when you had the timeline. So great to see all the work that has been done. I know you guys have been working super hard. I think from a implementation and practical standpoint, having that call center is, and the hours and the way it's going to be staffed is going to make all of the difference. So I just want to let you know your hard work does not go unnoticed. So I'm excited, and as my colleague mentioned, hoping that the community gives some grace as we get started, but really excited about the future of transportation in LISD.
I appreciate the work. I have no doubt that we will LISD this in our own special way, and that the start of the year with buses is always rocky. I've been doing this a long time. I've never seen a year where it wasn't rocky, just because we have new people participating in the bus system. So I just want to ride on the Dino bus, because that looks like it'd be really fun to ride on that one. But I appreciate the work, and I look forward to the first day of school, and the yellow limousines dispersing across the district. So thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Next up is the Legal Services Report. Ms. Bay.
Good evening, Board, Dr. Rapp. We are coming before you with two separate, We are coming before you with two separate board policies that are a result of recent legislation, starting with Board Policy EFB, which I'll let Ms. Gall speak to.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity for this discussion item. As you know, Senate Bill 13 was legislation that was passed regarding library book acquisitions and collection development policy. And it was recently passed that required that school boards adopt a policy for the acquisition of the materials before the first day of the 25-26 school year. We have shared that policy proposal with you. It does also state that TEA will be directed to adopt a model acquisition policy sometime by April, as well as the Texas State Library Archives Commission to give us a collection development standard proposal. So we may be back around this policy, but for now, this is the proposed policy that we suggest that you adopt, and that will come forth next Monday on the 11th.
As you all know, your board operating procedures require a two-read before board policy adoption. So tonight we're just doing discussion, and it will be in consent next week. But we're happy to take any questions that you might have.
Dr. Parker.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't have a question, just a comment. I just want to congratulate you and your team for being very forward-thinking on this. There were some procedures and things that went into place prior to this legislation. Our insignia, am I saying that right? System, and some of the conversations around donations and things that were already in play before this came down from the legislation that set us up very nicely to be able to adjust. So thank you for all of your work on that.
All right, you may move on to our next policy. Thank you all so much.
Okay, we're also bringing before you board policy FNCE, which is a result of the 89th legislature as well. House Bill 1481 requires the board to adopt a policy prohibiting a student from using their personal communication during the year. We're bringing this during the school day. We're bringing this to you today in hopes of having this approved and policy in place before the first day of school on the 12th. So that policy is before you and in board book. The law also requires you to approve the student consequences, which will be included with the student code of conduct that you will see later tonight. But I am once again happy to take any questions.
I will say I think the district has done a very good job of communicating out to, as Dr. Rapp alluded to earlier, our high school students especially, what this looks like for them in their school day. Already looked a great deal like this for our middle schoolers and our elementary kiddos. And I would direct anybody who has any questions to look at our FAQ page to see if their question is answered there. And if it is not, please direct your question to the district and we will get an answer back to you. Board, are there any questions or comments? Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next up is our finance report. Mr. Rare.
All right, Rennie's coming up now to present the 2023 bond update.
All right. Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Rapp, and the board. So, as you know, we've been very busy this summer working on lots of bond projects, both the 2023 and 2024 bond. So tonight I just have a few items to go through, starting with RFQ 3006A-22. This is our construction manager at risk for bond construction projects and other projects on an as-needed basis. So we currently have 7 CMAR firms in our pool to work with. Government code allows a maximum of 5 to be invited to bid each individual project. So as we've talked about many times here recently, the last 2 years really, we always invite 5 for the projects. There have been some times where nobody bid, sometimes where 2 or 3, and of course we've had projects where everybody bid. So we originally wrote this RFQ, included language that allowed for a process where new firms could be added without eliminating the pool of 7 firms that we already have or the contract duration that's in place. So that's what we did. 1,578 invitations were sent out in Ion Wave. We had 13 firms actually submit responses. We reviewed all those responses, and from that we determined 6 firms that we shortlisted for interviews. Evaluations were then done following criteria from set forth in Chapter 2269 of the Government Code. After evaluations and interviews, we are recommending that 4 of these firms be added to our current pool of 7. So that would give us 11 firms to work with, and we feel like that's a sufficient number to get us through the 2023-2024 bonds. So a recommendation will be brought forth as a consent item next Monday night for this RFQ. So the next one is another RFQ. This one is 3322-25. It's our geotechnical engineering and related professional services. So our current RFQ that we have in place is set to expire, which is why we went out for a new one. So geotechnical services are required anytime we build a new building, our addition, and sometimes our renovations and even sports field work. These firms, they also do provide our materials testing, which we use for special inspections and concrete and steel and masonry, all those kinds of things. This is a third-party service, and so when the geotechnical engineer does their subsurface exploration, we will turn that report over to our architects and engineers who then use it to design the building per the specific site conditions. So on this one, 1,754 invitations were sent out on Ion Wave, and we had 12 responses. Evaluations, again, were done based on Chapter 2254 of the Government Code. After those evaluations, we are recommending 5 of these firms to be approved for use on LISD projects. So with almost all of our RFQs that we have now, we have multiple firms. It just gives us a broader range of people to work with, and so we're following suit on this one. We do feel that provides best value and flexibility to the district. So this one will also be brought back next Monday night as a consent item for your approval. Our third item here is the Hedrick Middle School playground construction delivery method. So we've talked about this a couple of times. When we designed Hedrick Middle School, a small portion of the site was set aside for a community park/playground. This is also part of our interlocal agreement with the City of Lewisville. VOK is the approved architect, and working with them as a design team, we feel the competitive sealed proposal is the most appropriate delivery method for this project. And so a recommendation to approve the CSP delivery method would be presented as an action item actually tonight with our hopes of getting a CSP awarded at the September meeting. It'll just give us that extra week we need for advertising and bidding and evaluation. And then finally, architect selection for various LISD program needs. So to maximize campus and building utilization, proposals are being created to consider relocation of district programs. We have several facility and program needs under review. We have such things as the completion of our new transportation center next year, for example, will free up some space in existing buildings. House Bill 6 creates a need to examine behavior programs for students and facility needs. And Senate Bill 469 creates a need to consider changes related to virtual learning and any related facility needs. So as a district, we really need to evaluate overall program needs and available facility space. An inventory and an architect it was needed in order to run through design options and estimated costs of all possible solutions. So Huckabee has worked on several of these programs already on different projects. They've also worked on different facilities that we're speaking about, like the transportation center. So that Huckabee will help the district to develop a budget for any project that should come out of this evaluation process. The recommendation to award Huckabee as the architect for this project, again, will be presented next Monday night. And any results and recommendations from the program and facility evaluations would obviously be presented to the board so that the board can determine our path forward. So our next steps, 3 of those items I spoke about, again, will be presented next Monday night as consent. We also have 2 closeouts we're bringing. One is the Arbor Creek Middle School interior bleacher replacement. The other is one of our final, really one of our last 2 2017 bond projects, the Colony Multipurpose Facility, football press box replacement, and fiber installation. So we're happy to get that one get that one closed out. And then in September, a couple of potential discussion items would be, again, this Hedrick Middle School playground CSP, should we be successful in getting that bid out and evaluated. And then district-wide security and LISDAC final GMP. It's our goal to get that. We have the initial GMP for that. This would be the final for that project. And the potential September consent items would be those two items, as well as a closeout of the year one casework and flooring and our emergency responder radio system closeout. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Dr. Barker.
Thank you, Madam President. Not a question, really just a comment about, I saw the social media post with the signs that said your tax dollars at work on the construction projects. I mean, that's just phenomenal. Nice touch. I'm sure that was a multi-department thing. Very, very well done. I thought that was a really neat way to remind our voters that this is their tax dollars that they voted for, and we're putting them to use in our building. So awesome.
Thank you, and thank our awesome communications team for that. So.
Ms. Sells.
Yes, I just also wanted to not pass up the opportunity to once again, and you've done it before, to thank the city of Lewisville for their support and their acknowledgement that a school is really the heart of a community. And so I know that as we finish projects, sometimes we get busy and then it's like an aha moment a few months later. I want to make sure that it's on our radar to do a ribbon cutting for that park, a joint ribbon cutting with the city of Lewisville when that is opening, because I think that their partnership shows what can be accomplished even in the smallest ways when you're willing to come together and come to the table on an equal playing field and to benefit those in your community. So just wanted to say thank you.
Dr. Taylor.
Just a quick point. My colleague, Dr. Barker, reminded me of that is it's great to tell our story in that way, but also wanted to point out the photos that were included as it showed. I think Durham is the one I saw, kind of where you started, where you ended. I love seeing the scoreboards and people's comments about now they will work, and we'll know what the scores are, and, they won't, glitch out. So that's phenomenal. I saw some points raised about people wondering some of the things we do are more internal that they may not see, and maybe understanding how we can tell those stories too, what something might look like on the inside, and this is also your tax dollars at work, to share that story as well.
One of the things you will see, there will be signage also at the Flower Mound High School and Hebron High School auditoriums. Those are indoor projects, but with a lot of traffic because of the renos there from the bond fund. So we'll continue to look for ways to share what's going on. I think the comms team's done a great job of pushing out more photos than ever of all the bond work going on around the district. They're collaborating closely with Randy about that. We have regular meetings roughly every other week or so about bond progress around the district. And that's really where a lot of these ideas come to fruition. Very proud of those things. I think it's important that also I've shared with our principals every chance they get to remind people you have this facility because of the support of bonds and because of the support of voters, so that people understand these are projects that you approved and we're acting on those. So thank you all for the shout outs, and we'll keep working hard to share the stories.
Ms. Alcatab.
And just quickly to note, ditto with everything they're saying, but it really does, the community hears it. They see it. They see all the great work that you've been doing. And this just kind of goes to show the community all the great things that we are doing in LASD to support those bond dollars, and also showcases your guys' work and all the work behind it. And I love hearing that we're also going to be doing the interiors, because that is something that parents are also, or community members are also wanting to see. I see everything outside, what's happening in. And I think it's really important for that transparency piece, that this is what you approve, this is what you support, here it is. So, thanks.
I look forward to seeing the creative way that communications is going to make a new air conditioner on a roof look really great. Because that's what we do for a lot of it. It's roof up stuff that, maybe they can dress it up throw a pom-pom on it or something, but really appreciate the work and appreciate, I'm going to echo something Michelle said, that we partnered with the city of Lewisville for their Walk to a Park program. And that is how one of the ways that the playground became available at Hedrick Middle School. There had been a playground there, of course, when it was both Hedrick Elementary and Hedrick Middle. And I think it was a great way for us to still honor that community by providing a playground equipment there for those residents that live in that area, along with what I think is a beautiful middle school. So thank you so much. All right, next is the annual review of board. This is the night of board policy.
All right,
Board policy, CDA legal and CDA local.
Yes, thank you. The Public Funds Investment Act provides that the board shall conduct an annual review of the district's investment policies. Included in the board book are CDA legal and local. No changes are recommended at this time to those policies. In addition, as part of the annual review, the district's required to designate its investment officers, which we've done, adopt a list of qualified brokers, and approve the organizations that may provide investment training to the investment officers. And those are all included in the resolution that's attached in the board book.
Any comments or questions? All right, moving on. Still you. It's the August 11th regular board meeting consent agenda review.
Yes, so once again in August, we have a significant number of agenda items that are on the consent agenda. And so included in the board book is a summary of some of those consent agenda items. And tonight I just wanted to highlight one of the items, and it's a rather large one as far as dollar value goes, but it's the liability insurance renewal policy. And so included is all the different policies that are within that renewal. But I did just want to highlight a few, both a challenge but also some positive news that it came out through that renewal process for this year. So the challenge for us would be that the cost of the district's casualty policy, which is our auto insurance, has increased for next year. And the reason for that is that since we're moving our transportation services in-house, the district now is required to provide the insurance for those vehicles, so for both the buses and the white fleet. And so that increased the auto premium for next year. On the positive side, the property insurance policy, we're actually seeing a decrease on that side. And so we have currently a not-to-exceed total of $5.7 million. Mr. Martin's continuing to work with those to see if we can negotiate that a little bit further, but that's currently the not-to-exceed total. The total rate, and they give us a rate per $100 of value, and so our rate is significantly lower than our peers, and so it's about 19 cents on $100. The average peer rate is 32 cents on $100, so that difference right there is saving us significantly on property insurance. And so I know there were a few years that we saw some increases in property insurance. Thankfully, last year we saw a slight decrease, and for next year we're seeing a decrease as well. So right now we're looking at a property policy decrease of $710,000 from last year. And so when you include that with the auto insurance increase and some of the other increases that we're seeing, we're still looking at a reduction for all of our insurance of about $305,000 for next year.
Comments, questions? Ms. Lasan.
I have a quick question, and this is sort of kind of related to what's on the consent agenda. The high school graduation venue. Do we have graduation dates yet?
Yes, we have dates. We're just
for like this for 26.
Yes, yeah, for 2027 through 2029, which is what the renewal is for.
Okay, but do we have specific?
Yes, hot off the presses will be coming, the dates for the class of 2026.
Okay, because I'm already getting people asking.
Yes, I know y'all are. I know you are, and it is almost ready to go.
Almost
ready to roll.
Okay,
out.
got it. Thank you.
Dr. Taylor.
I had a question regarding also the consent agenda item for the graduation venue. I wanted to know what was the spend for, I guess it would have been 2024, 2026 contract?
I don't have the exact amount offhand, but we are going up.
Okay, I guess that's what I was asking.
Yeah, and so
do we
each
see a large
year,
increase?
it's increasing a little bit more.
Okay.
Mr. Martin's been working with them to try to bring that down as much as possible.
Okay.
We can get that information for you
Okay, I was
to
just
get the
curious.
exact amount.
Okay,
The
thank you.
biggest increase y'all will see will be in the last year of that graduation class, which would make sense because of the cost for safety and security and just inflation. This is another great example of our partnership with DATCU. We use a significant amount of those funds to offset the cost of graduation. So that's almost $100,000 that we have from DATCU that we're using to help offset that graduation cost and provide a great experience for our families. As Mr. Martin and I were talking about graduation venues, I think even when you look at the increase in the last year, it's like $6 per kid. Am I remembering that right? With their guest, that you're providing that really great experience. So it's not that off base when you think about the year that they're projecting out to. Yeah.
I want to be clear. I just wanted to know from a financial standpoint, from the beginning, always wanted us to be at a venue that would allow every school to celebrate in the same way. So some of you will remember, and you may not or may not have known, I actually cried when I first came to the graduation, the one that I had just got elected to, because I saw one school, I watched their students start to file up in the bleachers. And I was thinking, we need a venue where all of the students can be together, have the same celebration, especially being one LISD. So I applaud this board and the work that everyone has done to make sure that that has happened. And I've heard nothing but good things related to where we are now. So definitely don't want to put out that, I'm against it in any way. I just wanted to know how we were trending financially.
Very good. Next is the technology report. Dr. Rapp, I think this will be your last one.
Yes, this will be my one and only technology report. So let me be clear about that. But Brian updated me before he left that the first cell private LTE right now, we're still working on that. It's on hold, so there's not anything really to bring forward to you this evening on that one. So I'm going to check that off the list. And then district and campus digital signage, this is also a celebration. So the team issued an RFP for this thinking that the spend was going to be over $50,000. When it came back, as you can see for your item, it's actually coming in at $30,000. And we didn't necessarily, because of that spend, have to have this on the agenda, but it's such a celebration. The work that the purchasing team does for our district and the collaboration they have with technology is outstanding. So I just said, leave it on. Let's celebrate that it's going to be less, and the campuses that need digital signage will have access to that. So there you go. That's my report.
And that's mostly the high schools, am I correct?
Yes. Yes, mainly secondary schools, yeah.
I just wanted to give you a question.
Yes. Oh, yes, thank you.
Next is the Board of Trustees report. First up is our board operating procedures, and the chair of that committee is Dr. Barker. Dr. Barker.
Thank you. I serve on the committee with Dr. Taylor and Ms. Alkatib, and we met this past month and reviewed suggestions that were sent in. We decided there weren't very many major changes. There was a couple of wording changes here and there, but major change was to add in descriptions of each of the committees. So the draft of those descriptions, along with the rest of the draft of the BOP, are included in your board book. So if you have any adjustments to be made to that, please send those to the BOP committee, and we will make any final adjustments before we vote next week.
Any questions, comments? I always appreciate the BOP committee because they're a summer committee, so you have to work in the summer. And the next is really more of a discussion item, which is for delegate and alternative for the 2025 Delegate Assembly, which is coming up in September. We, as a board, will have an action item to secure your position at the Delegate Assembly at convention next month. So if you are inclined to volunteer or be voluntold, please let us know. Dr. Parker.
I believe I was voluntold. No, I would happily serve as a delegate.
So we'll just need an alternate who would like to who would like to participate in that.
I will just say that I've done both.
Yeah.
And I
Me
think
too.
everybody on this board needs to do it and just have that perspective, because because of the sessions that are going on, we really depend on you. And so I'm not raising my hand, is all I'm saying.
That was the long way of you saying, I've done my time. So.
There she goes.
All right, and Ms. Alcatab, very good. So we have our agenda item for the next month. Next up are our action items. To consider approval of the Student Code of Conduct for 2025-26. Mr. Kaj. Oh, and friends.
President Prosnick, board members, Dr. Rapp. Code of Conduct time, the 89th legislative session gave us a lot of information to work with. And so the Code of Conduct serves as the guiding document for all related student discipline issues. Must be approved by the board annually and becomes policy once adopted. The final document and proposed changes were meticulously gone over by Jennifer Bonyol, Leslie Davenport, with the tremendous guidance from Deanne Bay to make sure that this is put together and succinct and accurate with the latest legislative sessions. Also, we put together a change document in the past. That change document's about 4 pages long. I think this change document was 47 pages long. So, but I will say that the dedication and the time pouring through all the changes and how it's going to impact campuses weighed heavily on us. And so it's really guiding our learning and our teaching for all administrators as we move forward. So this code of conduct should be in place for the start of the 25-26 school year if you also approve.
I have a question, which is how are students and parents, because we're approving this, if we approve this tonight, first day of school is Monday. So next Monday, next Tuesday. Please don't show up on Monday. I'm thinking about the board meeting. Next Tuesday on the 12th. How are we relaying the major changes, obviously, to students and their families?
So at Inspire, whenever we were meeting with the principals, the team put together information talking to the administrators about the changes and kind of indicated these are the important things that you need to cover at orientations. These are things maybe you need to blast out social media-wise. There's so many things in this document, it's going to be very difficult to ensure that every finite thing gets laid out there, but those important major things principals are educated on to share out, whether through posting on their website or through social media blasts.
But this document is available.
It is available. It's posted on the Student Services website.
And one of the things we can do, in the back-to-school forms, we let people know as they start filling them out that it'll be posted after approval. I'll also be sending out another message to families in August as well. I can definitely reiterate, we can look back at some of those PowerPoint items because the principals will have had their opportunity by that time, and we can continue to work to communicate out those changes through my newsletters also.
All right. With that, would someone like to make a motion? Someone like to make a motion? Ms. Sells.
I move that the board approve the Student Code of Conduct for the 25-26 school year as presented by administration.
Is there a second? Ms. Alcatab? Is there any discussion? All right. With that, call for the vote. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Carries 6-0. Thank you very much. Consider approval of board policy DBD local. Ms. Bay.
Thank you, Board. Madam President, Dr. Rapp. We have before you Board Policy DBD, which governs our conflict of interest and outside employment. This was previously brought to the Board Policy Committee to go through, and we extensively went through that and made those changes. It was previously brought to the board, so this would be a second time that it is brought before you and therefore able to have action taken. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Dr. Barker, I believe you served on that committee. Do you have anything to add?
There were a lot of discussions mainly around implementation, and so there were a lot of discussions around particular procedures on the admin side, but we came to an agreement on the policy side to make sure that everything is very clear as we could get it, about conflict of interest.
Very good. Would someone like to make a motion? Dr. Barker?
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the board approve board policy DBD local as presented by administration.
Second. Dr. Taylor? Any discussion? All those in favor? And that is unanimous. Vote carries 6-0. Consider approval of board policy DGBA and GF local. Ms. Fay.
Yes, thank you. DGBA is our employee grievance policy. GF is our public grievance policy. These were previously brought before the Board Policy Committee. They originally were brought along with F&G, our student grievance policy, but due to recent legislative changes, we are not bringing that forward. We will bring that forward later in the fall so they can incorporate all the changes from Senate Bill 12. So, yes, I'm happy to take any questions.
Dr. Barker, do you care to speak on this policy?
I have nothing to add.
Very good. Would someone like to make a motion? Dr. Taylor.
Madam President, I move that the board approve board policy DGBA and GF local as presented by administration.
Is there a second? Ms. Alcatab? Any discussion? All those in favor? Vote carries unanimously 6-0.
I will see you soon.
Next is to consider approval of Hedrick Middle School playground construction delivery method. Mr. Rare.
Thank you. As Mr. Fite shared in the bond update for the Hedrick Playground, a competitive seal proposal construction delivery method would provide the flexibility needed to get the project completed for a competitive price within the required time frame with your approval.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Lassonde?
I move that the board approve the CSP construction delivery method for Hedrick Middle School playground project.
Is there a second? Ms. Sells? I do have one question, which is, by doing this, the competitive bid will only be open for how long? If the board approves, how long will that competitive bid be open? And that's why we'll be able to approve it in September, correct?
And I'm going to defer to Mr. Martin on that question.
It's under 30 days, I guess. I should have phrased my question better. The competitive bid seal will be under 30 days, which is why we'll be able to approve it.
Yes, that's right.
In September.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. With that, I will call for the vote. All those in favor? And that is unanimous 6-0. Next is to consider approval of the hazardous route for Memorial Elementary, Griffin Middle School, and the Colony High School. Well, it's our old friend, Mr. Kaj.
As brought forward earlier this evening, the consideration of accepting the hazardous route for that area along Windhaven and heading towards Josie for Memorial Elementary School, and then, of course, Griffin in the Colony that's having to travel across 121 Business 121.
All right, can I get a motion? Ms. Alcatab.
I move that the board approve this addition of a hazardous route for Memorial Elementary, Griffin Middle School, and the Colony High School as recommended by administration.
Is there a second? Dr. Barker? Any discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. The vote carries 6-0. Next, I don't know why we didn't put these in order. Consider approval of employee outside employment in accordance with House Bill 3372. Ms. Bay.
Oh, hello, Board. Dr. Rapp. I have before you considering the approval of employee outside employment in accordance with House Bill 3372. This was a bill that passed in the 89th legislative session. It became effective immediately upon governor's signature, so it became effective June 23rd. It places prohibitions on certain outside employment for campus administrators and district administrators. However, there is an exception along with board approval for outside work performed for other school districts and other education entities instead of Lewisville ISD. So those employees who fall within the exception have submitted their contracts, which are in your board book for approval. And there are specific provisions for you to find that is included in your action language. But I know this is our first time doing this, so I'm happy to take any questions that you have.
Are there any questions? I greatly appreciate the quick work and the quick turnaround on this, especially because of how quickly this came through the legislature and et cetera.
Happy to.
So would someone like to make a motion? Ms. Sells.
I move that the board approve the contracts as presented regarding employees outside employment in accordance with the House Bill 3372 and find the following. 1, that the contract will not harm the district. 2, the arrangement does not present a conflict of interest. And 3, the services to be performed by the administrator will be performed entirely on the administrator's personal time.
Is there a second? Dr. Taylor? Any discussion? All those in favor? And that vote carries 6-0. Thank you so much. Next is consider approval of resolution regarding renewal armed safety and security personnel. Mr. Kaj. Do you have a friend? Oh, and a friend.
I'm going to let Matt Garrett expand on the information in this action item.
Good evening to you all. In response to House Bill 121 passing in the most recent legislative session, it is requiring the Board of Trustees to review the good cause exception to the armed security officer requirement set forth by House Bill 3 in the 88th legislative session. This is, of course, for the LISD Guardian program at the schools where there's not a full-time SRO located at those campuses. So ultimately, this resolution is to basically re-examine and reapprove the LISD Guardian program. This will be an annual review and renewal. We're bringing it forth to you this month, and then we'll bring it forward every June as we do with our school resource officers and other safety and security programs for the upcoming school year.
Someone like to make a motion? Dr. Barker?
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the board approve the renewal of the Armed Safety and Security Personnel Resolution for the 25-26 school year as recommended by administration.
Is there a second? Wilson? I do have one quick question. Could you remind me how much training we do for our guardians?
Yep. Actually, they're in the middle, or they're on their final 4th week of training. We do over 100 hours of training over the year. They receive robust security training most ISDs aren't able to provide, but some of it is on the same level as local law enforcement.
Greatly appreciate the work that you do in that department. With that, I will call for the vote. All those in favor? That is 6-0. Vote carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Garrett. We will now convene into closed session as authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551, specifically 551.0821, 071, and 129. The time is 8:41 p.m. We will now reconvene into open session. The time is 9:59 p.m. Next on the agenda is to consider, discuss, and take action on all items related to Level 3 Parent Grievance Appeal. Would someone like to make a motion? Ms. Sells.
I move to uphold the Level 2 decision and deny the parent's appeal, and in addition, direct the superintendent to ensure that administrators have received training in effective investigative practices and protocols.
Is there a second? Ms. Lasan? All those in favor? And that is unanimous. The vote carries 6-0. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Have a pleasant evening.